안녕하십니까 여러분, 돌콩입니다. 오늘 모신 게스트를 생각을 하면 저는 딱 떠오른 단어가 있었어요. 엄친아. 바로 데이터 과학자이자 뉴욕타임즈 베스트셀러의 작가이기도 한 스티븐 다비도위츠입니다. 세스를 제가 처음 알게 된 거는 세스의 첫 책 Everybody Lies, 우리나라에서는 모두 거짓말을 한다 라는 제목으로 출간이 되어 나와 있는데 그 책을 읽었을 때였어요. 너무 충격이었어요. 읽었는데 데이터 분석도 이렇게 야무지게 잘하면서 스토리텔링도 너무 잘하고 책을 놓을 수 없도록 재밌게 쓰는 사람이 있는 거예요. 이번에 세스의 두 번째 책이 나왔다고 하기에 당장 사서 봤고요. Don't Trust Your Gut? 우리나라에서는 데이터는 어떻게 인생의 무기가 되는가? 라는 제목으로 나와 있는 걸로 알고 있습니다. 너무 재밌게 읽었습니다. 세스의 양력에 대해서 잠깐 소개를 해드리면 2004년도 스탠퍼드 유니버시티에서 학사 학위를 받고 2013년도에 하버드에서 경제학으로 박사학위를 받았습니다. 그 후에 구글에서 애널리스트로 1년 정도 일을 했던 것 같고 그 데이터 사이언티스트로 계속 그 분석 일도 하고 학생들도 가르치고 그 다음에 칼럼도 계속 써가지고 뉴욕타임즈에 기고를 하는 그런 커리어를 하는 사람이었던 거죠. 너무 멋진 커리어지 않습니까? 대화를 직접 나누기 전까지는 이 사람은 그냥 되게 타고난 천재구나 라고 생각을 했어요. 그런데 대화를 하다 보니까 대화의 흐름이 자꾸 어디로 가냐면 어떻게 하면 극도로 우리가 두려워하는 그 거절을 처리할 수 있는가, 이런 대화를 하게 됐고, 그리고 데이터 사이언티스트로의 그 업무와 정체성, 그리고 글을 쓰는 사람으로서의 그 업무와 작가라는 정체성 사이에서 어떻게 그 업무를 균형 있게 해나가는지에 대한 이야기도 물어봤고요. 그에 대해서 정말 솔직하게 대답을 해준 세스에게 너무 고맙다라는 이야기를 하고 싶고요. 여러분들 오늘의 대화도 재미있게 봐주셨으면 좋겠습니다.
I want to know more about when you started your grad school. So you changed your major. You did your undergrads in philosophy, and I'm curious about how you decided to go to grad school and why you decided to study econ specifically.
Well, philosophy is not really much of a career path. You know, I was so clueless. I was just really into big questions and the meaning of life. You know, at some point I realized, okay, this isn't like a solution to I'm not born, I don't have a trust fund, there's no way I need to get a job. And, philosophy, it's very, 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 very hard to get a job. I was, really, I needed to do something practical. And economics, I just had a knack for it. I started taking some classes in economics. And this is going to sound a little arrogant, but I was just very good at it. Like, it just came naturally, that way of thinking. There's always a question, should you follow your passion or your talent? And for me, economics was following talent, not passion. So I was able to get into a top program. Now, people see that I got a PhD in economics at Harvard. I applied to 10 schools, and Harvard was pretty much the only one that accepted me. I think maybe one more accepted me. A lot of lower-ranked schools rejected me. When I was an undergrad, I did not apply to Harvard University because I thought there was no way I'd get in. And I got into Stanford.
You went to Stanford.
I know. To not apply because I decided I'd have no chance is just stupidity. It cost $40. I could afford it, and even if I couldn't afford it, I should have taken out a loan to spend $40 to get one more option. Have one more lottery ticket for college. One of the things I talk about in Don't Trust Your Gut is the importance of having lots of lottery tickets and applying to lots of things. And this is a classic example. We all have this tendency, or not we all, but a lot of us have this tendency to not apply to enough stuff to think, that's above me, or, and because there's so much randomness in life, you really increase your odds of success by kind of having a lot of lottery tickets.
So you decide to apply Harvard for grad school. You learned a lesson from the past. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Yeah.
Doing the econ is one thing. You said that you're very good about it. When did you get really into data science?
When you study economics, a lot of it is analyzing data. Now, at the same time as in my economics program from about 2007 to 2012, Silicon Valley was exploding, and they invented this term, data scientist. I think there's a stat in The Economist that 25% of the Harvard PhD program was hired by Silicon Valley as data scientists.
So when you go to grad school, I think like 20 years ago, let's say, probably the reason why you want to go to grad school and doing the PhD is to become a professor. Like you go to postdoc and to get a job and start doing the tenure track position. But it seems like a lot of people are more considering going to industry, become data scientists or analysts. Now it's a lot more common. I see that going on. Have you ever considered going to tenure track, or that was not?
No, it was. In full honesty, I thought I wanted to be a professor, and I applied with some of the research I'd done in Google searches that was featured in Everybody Lies, and I got no job offers. It was considered crazy. What I was doing was considered really, really weird, and my articles wouldn't be accepted in journals, and I couldn't get a job. So I tried, and it just didn't happen. Now, of course, it's like standard, the stuff I was doing, but it was maybe, I guess, a little bit ahead of its time.
Yeah. Is there anything else, like, so now I'm listening to your story and then you said, oh, I should have done it, but I thought there was no possibility that I can get it. Is there anything like that other than applying for Harvard for undergrads in your career?
Yeah, for sure. I think in general, I kind of like let things come to me. And that's probably a stupid strategy. Like Google, I just got the job at Google because Hal Varian, the chief economist there, emailed me and, suggested I should, come and interview, and it was very quick, but I'm like...
That's because you use a Google search data?
Yeah, because I was using Google search data, but okay. I'm kind of like...
Got it.
Well, what if I had like applied to 10 tech companies and gotten a bidding war over my services instead of just like, oh, that seems like a cool opportunity. And I still do that to this day. Like, I tend to kind of wait for things to come to me, which is probably not good. I just hate rejection so much. Definitely in my personal life, I talked about in dating, I had a huge problem with, I'm heterosexual, asking women out was a major, for someone who hates rejection, it was a major difficulty for me. And it was kind of similar where I generally waited for women to ask me out or, make it very, very obvious that they were interested, which maybe is very progressive to, and you get, the good thing with that is I dated some very courageous women because they were more aggressive than I was, but I'm like, oh, in hindsight, probably the optimal way to date, male or female, is to, ask people out when you're interested in them and don't just hope that they come to you.
Yeah, that reminds me of that first chapter of your book, Don't Trust Your Gut. That was such a fascinating chapter to read. The dating app, data analysis. That was so fun to read. I'm also the person who hate getting rejected, or who are afraid, who are scared of being rejected so much. So I hesitate a lot. I spend a lot of time to kind of think about how possible this is before actually taking an action. So I end up wasting a lot of time. Do you have your own strategy to deal with that fear of rejection, or is that getting better? Or
it gets better. There's something called rejection therapy. I think it's a card game, and you basically get a card.
Tell me more about it. Yeah.
It gives you a ridiculous thing to ask, like go down the street and ask some random person to come to your apartment and help you move a couch. Or something like totally outrageous, or you're in Starbucks, ask for the coffee for free. Like, can I have this coffee for free? But, let's say the majority of people say no to this. The idea of that is that eventually, if you hear no enough, you kind of get desensitized a little bit. And so I think a big thing with, fear of rejection, putting yourself out there, is doing it a lot and just kind of getting used to the process. And then it doesn't hurt as bad. And that's something I've gotten a little better with. I was really good with that when I asked for blurbs for my first book, Everybody Lies. I just emailed, I'm just going to do this, not think about it. I'm going to ask the most outrageous people. I asked Scott Adams, the Dilbert creator, who's now disgraced, and he sent me an angry tweet that I'm wasting his time or something. An angry direct message, I'm wasting his time. And I'm kind of just okay, this shows that I'm doing it right. The fact that if I got no angry responses, I kind of change the frame of how I thought about that. Think of that as a good thing, that means I was reaching, beyond my level. And the only way to avoid getting a response like that is to not send crazy requests. So not send any crazy requests. And, if you send enough, one or two kind of surprising, people will say yes.
I'm curious about, can I ask about that foreword written by Stephen-Pinker? Did you reach out to him too? How did that happen?
Yeah, I did. I had interviewed
You
him.
did?
I did. I had interviewed him for an article I had written, and we started exchanging emails, and I asked him, I'm like, I have a favor to ask you. And he goes, okay, you want me to blurb your book? I'll say, I can do that. And I said, no, I actually have a bigger favor. Can you write a foreword to the book? Which is, a big ask, a jump in, blurb you can do in 5 seconds. A foreword takes, a couple hours at least. And he's like, my automatic answer is no. Like, my usual answer is no, but I do like the book and, your ideas. And he liked the article that I'd written where I'd interviewed him. And he said, so I'll think about it. So then I just asked him, and he said that he would do it. It was very, very kind of him to do, and I thanked him profusely. I was on a trip to Russia before Russia was disgraced, and I sent him chocolates as a gift to show my gratitude.